Everybody, I'm Mike the Man and I thank you for watching. The purpose of a polygraph test is very similar to the purpose of statement analysis, which is to help law enforcement get started. Really get started. The polygraph test and statement analysis can eliminate suspects or people of interest or put them on the back burner. And as John Walsh always says, if you have a child missing, you are a suspect automatically. There's nothing that you can do about it. Even if you were not there, there's always suspicion in the beginning. And the best thing that you can possibly do is volunteer to take a polygraph test right away to let police know, don't waste your time on me. Go straight ahead and look at the other pool of suspects. Do your investigation. Go out there, please help me find my child. Assuming that you don't have any knowledge and you believe your child is still out there somewhere, and parents have hope until the bitter end. So let's see what Chris Proudfoot's priorities are. And he loves to come off like an expert. And the types of shows that he goes on are the ones that let him talk, that don't really have an opinion. Or, as a matter of fact, some of the interviewers, when you look at their statements, they don't really believe him. But they play along because it's, he's getting the visitors to come. Chris Proudfoot says about the polygraph test, but all the questions, you get them read to you. And if there's a question you do not like, you don't like how it's worded, cool. He has a problem with the wording. Really? Okay. You sit down and you can change it. It's an open book cheat test, I kid you not. So where is his mind? First of all, he's been stalling. And as far as I know, he still hasn't taken a polygraph test. But he was asked one time on Facebook, have you both taken a polygraph test, and what are the results? Yes, and the results are passed. Let me make sure. Okay, that's good enough. The results are passed. He is concerned with the results. The polygraph is only a stepping stone towards a real investigation. And an innocent parent concerned with a child's well-being isn't going to be worried about what the results are going to be. And they're not going to have an attitude either and say, what do you mean I'm a suspect or a person of interest? No, I'm not going to do it. Yes, people will take a polygraph immediately if they think that police is on their side. Once they understand, we need to eliminate you due to statistics and due to procedure, and protesting by not taking a polygraph is counterproductive to what we gotta get to, and we have to get to it as soon as possible. So the results of a polygraph are not going to be evidence in court. Neither are the results of statement analysis. All of these are tools. And they are tools because they are pretty much the best that we can get right now. And the only concern is to help law enforcement. Help law enforcement do their job. But all the questions, does he like any questions? He's telling us all the questions. You get them read to you. And if there's a question you do not like, you don't like how it's worded, cool. It's cool. It's great to see a question that he doesn't like. It gives him the opportunity not to comply and change it towards whatever he's comfortable with. The wording is extremely important in the polygraph tests. And you have to ask the question using the language of the subject. Because there are many examples of how people have a different way of phrasing something. So when Bill Clinton said, I didn't have blank blank relationships with that woman, had he been asked, did you have blank blank relationships with that woman? And he said no, he may have passed, because that's not what he considers it. You need to be familiar with the language, but you can also not let the subject control what the wording is, because it is easy to manipulate a test if you loophole your way out of it by using the wording that you're most comfortable with. The purpose of the test is not to make you comfortable. It's going to detect whether or not you are comfortable with the question. And a good polygraph examiner will analyze it and have a follow-up if necessary. It's an open book cheat test. That is what it is to him. Which it isn't if the polygraph examiner is good. And some of them are excellent. And some of them are not. There have been polygraph tests where the results were not accurate in both directions. And the results that are inaccurate need to always be examined for mistakes made in the wording, not being too specific, because a parent, for example, can feel guilty about certain aspects of a child going missing. And a prime example was a guy who passed out drunk or high, and his child walked out of the house and got picked up by a kidnapper. And cases like those, and cases like Candace, Summer Wells' mother, who I don't believe had a criminal fault in the death of her daughter. I believe it was actually an accident. There may have been some negligence, but she shows up as deceptive a lot of times. And that has to do with everything surrounding the case. The sudden attention to her family, how the children lived, how drugs were their priorities, what as it seemed like. Look, Don Wells made a statement, what should be done to whoever took your daughter? And he said something like, I don't wish jail on anybody. So there's a chance that he has a suspect in mind, there's a chance he knows something. It also indicates screwed up priorities of a drug thing who hates jail because he's been there so many times, and it is unexpected. It actually leads towards the high possibility that somebody close to him is suspected by him involved, or that whoever would be arrested may not deserve to be arrested. There are different interpretations that I am going to look at a later time. But the thing is that what Chris is telling us, and the results are passed, he keeps it very short. What are the results? Have you both taken the test, and what are the results? It's a very short answer. Yes, we've passed the test, would be something I would have said. Yes, the results are passed. Turns out he didn't. I mean, as far as I know, he didn't take the test. And I am not paying that much attention to the many claims that are out there. The stories change. I pay attention to the definitives when they're brought to my attention, when I know something for a fact. But as far as I know, he was inaccurate about that, and he didn't take a test. He's keeping it very short. He is the person who loves to talk. There are dozens and dozens and dozens of hours of him being on several networks that are friendly towards him. Not mainstream media, but YouTube lives and podcasts. And he cannot shut up. That's a pattern. You always want to look at the pattern. When does the pattern change? The pattern changes when he says, I cannot talk about this. Or he keeps it very short and then doesn't say anything more. Case closed. It's an open book cheat test. That's how he then explains to us why there is no need for him to take a test. Well, the purpose is not that you cheat. An open book. The book is open. You can copy. This shows us his intentions. He's revealing what is on his mind. A polygraph test when your child is missing wouldn't be something that you contemplate once you have the information and know how law enforcement operates. You would jump on it. You may be upset first. What the heck are you talking about? Why don't you find the person? Find my child. Don't look at me. Police will tell you, I'm sorry, but due to statistics, here are the statistics. When there are children missing, here's the high percentage of parent involvement. We need to eliminate you in order to put all of our forces on finding your child. Okay, I understand. Let's do it. Let's not hesitate. But this guy, he's putting you off. Yes, and the results are passed. Short sentence. Incomplete somewhat, right? It seems a little bit incomplete. Yes, and the results are passed. Unemotional. Just get out of my way. Here, I'm going to give you this, and you back off. He said many times, people step back. I still have it written down on this.